René Jalbert had returned to the peace and quiet of Quebec City after a lifetime of travel and adventure. But Jalbert's peaceful world vanished as he fought to stop a murderer.
Let's talk about it.
It appears to be in the East Bay.
Jack Thompson used to drive Oakland's Cypress Freeway every day. He didn't think about it much. Until one day, it changed his life forever. Hello, I'm Alex Trebek. What drives an individual to get personally involved in a public crisis? If you or I were told our help wasn't needed, would we push ahead anyway, like the heroes of these stories, refusing to accept that there was nothing more that could be done? At 5 p.m., October 17th, 1989, Jack Thompson was just an ordinary guy, someone you wouldn't pick out of a crowd. By 5:05, a catastrophe had begun that would thrust him center stage in a drama watched by the entire world.
I was driving home from work, and I decided to stop by Emporium Capitals. It was a shopping mall. I was going to return some shaving cologne, and I stopped by there, and all of a sudden the earthquake shook. I went outside, and they closed the store down. I got in my car and was going to drive over to my parents' house to see if they were okay. In the midst of this, I was listening to the radio. It said that possibly the Bay Bridge had collapsed, and also that the Cypress structure had collapsed. It was a 1.5 mile freeway structure, which was 2 stories up, and it was a double-decker freeway. So I told my parents I was going to drive down and see if there was anything I could do. I drove down. It took me about 10 minutes to drive down there, and when I arrived, it was horrible. It was the whole freeway had collapsed. The top layer had fallen down onto the bottom layer.
Of all the chaos that was sparked that day, the collapse of an entire section of the Cypress structure was the most devastating single incident. Scores of motorists were trapped when the upper deck fell.
What I did then is I ran down along the freeway to see if there was anything I could do, and there was a ladder that was put up leaning onto the freeway. I crawled up the ladder, and when I got to the top, the first thing I saw, it was a yellow Volkswagen. It was almost completely covered with rubble. So I started taking the rocks off there, knowing there was somebody inside. I was trying to get the person out of the Volkswagen. But at that time, 3 police officers came along the top of the structure, which was now at the bottom of the structure. And they told us that everybody had to clear the top and everybody had to get down. So what I did is I walked around the back of the Volkswagen and I crawled up to the next section forward and I looked underneath. The height of the freeway collapse was about 2 feet high. There were 3 cars underneath there, and there were people inside each of the cars. That was scary. That was the point I had to make the decision. Was I going to go in or was I going to turn around? And there was an aftershock.
Standoff at the Quebec Assembly continued. René Jalbert desperately tried to keep the situation under control.
At that time, members of the SWAT team were in the gallery with their guns aiming at Lotzi. I naturally did not want Lotzi to be killed. There's nothing more precious than life.
Just a second, please. Hey, you up there. If you want to move over to the right to get a better shot at me, I understand your strategy. So stand up and go over there if you're a man. You're scared I'm gonna shoot you, but I won't. I know my life is over.
I said, look, this man in the gallery is disturbing me and disturbing you. I said, I'm trying to find a solution to your problem. Obviously, we can't do it here. We'll get on to my office, and then we'll see what we can do.
So there, I'm leaving 2 9mm magazines. I only had 2 with me. Okay, shoot me in the back if you want. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Denis, look over there.
Oh, sorry. I respect the army.
Wear your hat so you look like a fine soldier. That's correct.
Okay, you understand now? What time is it now? Is it 15:15? 15,
okay.
20 seconds over? I like to keep my word.
Let's go.
Okay, let's go. Shoot me, don't shoot me, I don't care.
And then, of course, we went into my office, and I said, you sit over there. And then I started to talk for 4 hours with him. We talked about all sorts of things. His military career, my military careers. I said, you've done something wrong. I said, you're not the only one. I've done some too. Try to explain to him all the stupid things I did when I was young and in the army. At the certain stage of the game, I said, look, I said, you're a corporal. I said, I'm a major. I said, let's establish a little bit of military protocol here. I said, you're in the army and I am a veteran. I said, from now on, you will call me sir, and I will call you corporal. He said, yes, sir. Then I knew I had him.
5 hours after the siege had begun, it was over.
Afterwards, when we came back here, my wife gave me a big fat kiss, and then gave me, I think, a very, very strong Scotch and soda.
René Jalbert saved countless lives that day, including that of Denis Lortie. He was awarded the Carnegie Hero Medal for his exemplary courage. The government of Canada presented him with their highest civilian honor, the Cross of Valor.
I was thinking that I was going to wear it, not only for me, but for those who had lost their lives and all the people that had been wounded. In addition to that, all the personnel at the National Assembly, this Cross of Valor belongs to them too.
Denis Lortie was sentenced to life in prison. Psychiatric testimony at Lortie's trial pointed to his suffering paranoid delusions. He considered himself champion of innocence, a righter of wrongs. The man who truly was the champion of innocence has since retired from his position as Sergeant-at-Arms for the Quebec legislature and now works in the private sector. A man ignores the authorities and succeeds in rescuing a motorist trapped by an earthquake. An ex-soldier talks down a machine gun-wielding madman and prevents further bloodshed. Jack Thompson and René Jalbert refused to accept that the impossible couldn't be done. They kept trying until they made it happen. Each man's heart of courage is built on determination, earning him the right to be called hero. I'm Alex Trebek. Good night.